Well, here we are, another edition of In the Circle, which is presented by Rawlings, and Rawlings is the official softball of the Missouri Valley Conference and the NCAA. And today we get to welcome in first-year head coach Kasey Griffith. And Coach, welcome in. We were talking a little bit before we started recording. You kind of move what I call one bucket over into the head coaching position. And so, how has this first year gone for you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, hello to you, Laura. It's so good to see you again. Thank you for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, it has just been a stair step a little bit since I've been here at Missouri State, going from assistant coach 1 year, head, now to head coach. So, for me, that's personally been really good. It allowed me to get my feet wet here, kind of get comfortable, get acquainted before fully jumping into that first year as head coach. It's always great when you have a good staff around you that helps with that transition. And so for me, it's been a great year. It's really been a seamless transition. Like I said, I'm fortunate to have a great staff, so they really support me. They know what they're doing. They're experienced, and I don't have to micromanage them. I just allow them to be in charge of their tasks, and they support me so well. And at the same time, I have the support of the three women that were here for so long. They text me, almost every game day, hey, good luck. They're fantastic because they give support. They most of all give me love, which I think is what you need kind of in that first year. And then they give me advice as I ask for it. They're not sitting there, hey, you should do this, you should do this. Just when I text them something, or Brittany, our new pitching coach, she'll text Holly, who was in charge of hitting, for a long time here. She'll say, hey, Holly, you got any ideas here? So that's been huge for us as well.
Well, I kind of like, and I always would talk to Holly about the fact that we all have an Iowa connection.
Right.
And so it's nice to see that another Iowa girl, as we call it here in the state of Iowa, has
Right.
taken over that program and with strong softball ties. And
Right.
you know what? I'm going to mention your dad, who has, Hall of Famer, 3 state
Right.
titles at Dallas Center Grimes. You played for him, but just recently retired. What do you take from him and all the success that he had at Dallas Center Grimes High School with you into your new position?
Yeah, I think just the steadiness. He always was very, very steady. He has the most passion for the game of maybe anybody I've ever met. But he always just had a steadiness, and he did things the right way all the time. He always had his players' interests. That was his number one thing. He wanted to do whatever he could for his players and to do things the right way. He had incredibly high standards. I think as an outsider looking in, you would think that he's a no nonsense, no fun type of guy. And maybe early on in his career, obviously his career spanned 49 years. So things were a lot different back then than they are now. And so certainly back in the day, that may have been how he was more. But those that got a chance to play for him, knew that he was business, and he had very high standards, but he loved to have fun with the girls. He has a great humor to him. And so I think we have a lot of similarities in our coaching. Every once in a while, I might get a little bit more fiery than him. But definitely have a calmness, I think, to us when you get into pressure situations. And just doing things the right way, just having really high integrity. That's something I always really respected. He's just a classy person. And so, yeah, I got the chance to learn from him throughout my entire life. Being a coach's kid, you sit there and watch that. You're at every game. You get great softball knowledge, but you get to see all the behind the scenes stuff. And so, yeah, huge advantage for me. I think, I always say, I think I was born to do this job. And that might be true, but a lot of it's is how I grew up in having my dad and my mom. My mom was actually an
Mhm.
assistant for a long time. And, I say my dad has the most passion, but my mom is like a ball head. Like she loves the game. She loves baseball. I mean, Major League Baseball. They watch the Twins games every single night. So, I was just born into it. And so having both of them to look up to and to learn from has been huge.
Well, I would be remiss because I didn't mention his name, Steve Schlafly, and
Right.
I have had the pleasure of working with him with the high school area level here, and just a fun guy to work with. So
Yeah.
recently retired, as we talked about. So
Right.
has he made the trek to some of your games?
He's been to a few. They actually were just in Florida for 3 weeks for spring training. So um, they've been to a few. They were down in Murray when we just played at Murray State. I think they'll be here this weekend. Hopefully, we get to host you and I with the rainy weekend.
Mhm.
Still figuring that out. But they will be at a lot of games. I know they're looking to move down to the area at some point, just so they can be at all of my games, but at my own kids'
Mhm.
games as well. So he's always there to support. If he's not there, he's texting every day and again, give me the love I need, give me a few reminders too.
Mhm.
But most of all, just positive support.
I figured he'd probably make the transition down that way sooner
Yeah.
or later. So
Yep.
you guys had a little bit of a slow start to the season
Yeah.
in the non-conference, and now that I mean, gosh, we're almost halfway into the season,
Hmm.
and gotten into conference play, seem to have started to hit a stride. What
Right.
have you seen change from the beginning of the season to right now?
There's been a lot of changes within our team. There was a lot of question marks, I think, going in to the season as far as starters, and who is going to win those spots. Um, we returned a few starters, but not a lot. We had 8 seniors last year, a few regular, a few COVID kids. So we have a lot of new faces, and so I think it just took our team a good chunk of time to really figure out what it looked like for us, quite honestly. And that's both, I think, softball wise, figuring out some things, each kid kind of
Mhm.
figuring out what they have and their abilities and a lot of it, though, I think was just figure out the puzzle pieces of who plays where. We have a number of players that can play different places. We've also had a number of injuries that have affected that too. I think the biggest thing that affects our lineup and the movement, because we still to this day have a good amount of movement, is when you have pitchers that hit and pitchers that don't hit, and so that really affects our lineup, and so we've gotten a little bit more solidified. But I knew coming into this year there was going to be a lot of movement. And when you look at it from, pre-conference to the start of conference where we're at now, yeah, it was just figuring things out. And for our team, um, I think figuring out, the big focus when we went through those first 4 or 5 weekends was
Mhm.
figuring out the confidence, figuring out uh how do I, big thing's been head up, shoulders back. Like no matter what the result is, we're gonna look like ball players. We're gonna play the game the right way. We're gonna play with swag. We're gonna have a little bit of attitude. We're gonna have fire. We're gonna have passion. And that's all great to talk about. It's easy to say, and we talked a lot about that through the fall and the winter. But then you get on the field and, we played really, really good competition through those first.
Mhm.
We took a weekend off there in between. So through our first 4 weekends, we played really good competition. So it's easy to say those things, but it's harder to do those, especially when you're playing teams, just caliber of teams that I don't think talent wise are that much better than us, but had things put together a little bit more than what we did at the beginning of the season. And so we took some knocks, certainly. And it took us some time to figure out things. How do you play with all those things while still playing that really good competition when you're going to take your lumps and it's easy for your confidence to go down a little bit. So we just kind of went through a lot of that. And, when we built the schedule for this year, I knew I wanted to challenge our team. I also knew that there were going to be a lot of question marks and that we're gonna take our lumps, and that's okay. We really preached, again, head up, shoulder back, no matter what. Nobody on the field, off the field, should ever know if we're winning or losing a game. Like, we are gonna play hard all the time. We're gonna play with passion. We're gonna play with fire. We're gonna be resilient, and the big thing is grit. We want to be a gritty team, and so I think we're starting to see a lot more of that come out now, because of that competition we played. We've really transitioned now into conference and using that as an asset for us.
Well, one of your players, I know you've got a lot of new faces. I think it was 7 freshmen and a couple of transfers, but one of
Right.
the players that was injured last year, right at the beginning of the season, Mackenzie Vaughn, and battled an arm injury and able to come back. And man, it looks like she has come back and rehabbed and looks as strong as ever.
Yeah, she's really done a great job. Yeah, we lost her 5 minutes before our very first game of the season, so did not get her for a single pitch of the season. She was slated to start the game versus Clemson down in Clearwater. Last throw of warmups, and boom, her elbow went. So was devastating for our team last year, and obviously for her personally. But she'll be the first to tell you that she learned a lot last year. She really embraced her role. She knew she wasn't going to play the entire year. And so she embraced it. She constantly looked for things to do to help the team. She, was doing like multiple different charts, every aspect that she could be involved in. She was. So I think that was good for her as far as she learned a lot. She really, really learned a lot. And, I think it reignited some passion for her, especially pitching. She loves to hit. She loves to play. But I think even that pitching part a little bit, when she got to watch that a little bit more and see it from the other side of things, calling pitches, understanding more of that side of it, just it reignited something in her. So she's had a great year so far. Pitching wise, we still didn't have her through the fall. So at the beginning of the year, or beginning of the season, it was still figuring some things out for her, what pitches she could throw, little bit of pitch count. We still definitely watch her and don't want to push her too much. We just obviously, first and foremost, want her to be healthy and stay healthy. But she's done a great job in the mound, and obviously her bat, a ball could fly out of the park anytime she takes a swing. So, which we absolutely love. So she's just a great kid. She's worked incredibly hard to get back. And I'm very happy for her that she's having a lot of success.
Yeah, it's great to see that when kids have an injury, it's devastating to everybody, that they
Right.
can bounce back and be as strong as ever, and hopefully continue to finish the season strong.
Yeah.
This season, conference tournament is back in the state of
Mhm.
Iowa.
Yeah.
And so being able to come back, and actually, and I guess one of the questions I didn't ask you was kind of your background a little bit. You were at Drake as an assistant coach
Right.
for many, many years, and then
Right.
moved on to Missouri State. So having that knowledge and being at Drake for so many years and being able to come back to your home state, what does it mean to be able to play this conference tournament in the state of Iowa and at Drake?
Yeah. I'm thrilled. I'm honestly thrilled to be able to come home. I'll be the first to tell you that I didn't ever know if I'd move out of the state of Iowa. I definitely am an Iowa girl at heart. My husband and I were living, just west of town in Dallas Center, in our little town that both of us grew up in. And our kids were going to schools, we grew up going in. So, it really was a perfect situation, quite honestly. And so just with the move down here, which again, never thought it was going to happen, have absolutely loved it. It's been um it's for me personally just the growth that I've made. I was so content in Iowa and in our hometown and with all of our people. And so just to move down here, I've just grown a lot. And for me, I get excited. I have so much excitement. I've always loved softball, love the game, love this profession, but just the excitement to be here at Missouri State, to be the head coach here. It's just, I absolutely love it. So it's been great for us, but yes, the chance to go home, we finish up the last conference season, in, or at Drake. And then this will be our, obviously with moving to Conference USA next year, this will be our last MVC tournament. And so to get both of those within a week. We're actually staying up in the Des Moines area. We're not going to come home. I wanted to do that from the standpoint of, you know, I think it'll be good for our team just to stay up there. We really enjoy spending time together. And I'm kind of excited to take our team to some places that are, you know, my old stomping grounds. So, you know, I just talked to my dad this weekend. He said, he goes, well, what are you going to do when you're up there and you want to practice? I said, well, I want to practice on the Dallas Center Grimes field, obviously. I said, but I need you to have what was the old high school fields, now their middle school field. That's a field I play on. I said, I need you to have that field ready for me because we're going to practice one day on that field and then we're going to go over to the high school field and practice. He goes, why would you want to play in the middle school? I said, Dad, that's where I played. He goes, okay, that makes sense. So we're gonna do that. I'm hoping one day we actually are gonna try to get up to the Field of Dreams. Again, this would most likely be our last opportunity to get to Iowa in the foreseeable future, at least. So I want to take the team up there. I think that's a special place. Obviously, a huge thing for the state of Iowa and for baseball and softball lovers. I think a lot of our team has watched the movie, but I guarantee you not all of them have. So we'll watch the movie and hopefully get up there. But yeah, I was thrilled that the conference tournament was in Drake. It just seems like it's kind of meant to be, especially since this is our Missouri State's last one and the foreseeable future that we'd be a part of.
Now, I was going to ask, are mom and dad going to cook some team meals for you guys while you're staying up there?
Yeah, that was the other thing. I said Saturday, hopefully after the Drake game, we'll have the whole team over, have the parents. I want to have the whole big Missouri State family over, out to little tiny Dallas Center and have a little feast there. So we actually went through Dallas Center last year on our way up to Northern Iowa. So it was fun because we had dinner at my parents' house and then, I took them on a 3-minute tour of town and showed them the ball fields. There's a big mural in town that says Dallas Center, so we stopped and took a picture there. But I know Dallas Center is little, but I have a lot of pride in the town and where I grew up, and I still think it's a fantastic place. I miss it every day. But yeah, they're definitely gonna put some meals on for us. But I want our whole Missouri State family to go back to Dallas Center and just see a place that I'm so proud of.
Well, I don't blame you. It's a great place, and we're excited to have you up here in Des Moines to come to the conference tournament and
Yeah.
finish out the season in
Right.
Des Moines. So looking forward to seeing you then, and good luck the rest of the way until we see you at the end of April and into May.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.